Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. It is Vicky here today and we are here with Vietnam. We continue. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more. And this has been a very interesting set actually. I've quite enjoyed it. So let's see which one this is. These are so hard to read. This one is Through the Forest. So as I've said with this journey, a lot of these tend to fit in very check boxes. Here's the citrus, here's the gourmand, here's the woodsy, you know what I mean? It tends to be like that. So I think this is the foresty woodsy one because we haven't had that scent yet. So these are very much, you need this for the collection, you need this for the collection, you need this for the collection type thing. Which is interesting because at times it could feel like it could be a little bit more of a checkbox of what a profile rather than an artistic choice sometimes, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. It makes it very wearable, but that's kind of how I kind of been seeing this brand a little bit, and understand that this was their first collection. So of course that tends to, and I find with most places it tends to be a little bit safer in that way, where it's like, okay, we're putting money onto this. We don't want to go broke by getting too crazy. Okay, Through the Forest. This is $160 USD at this time. And the inspiration of Through the Forest, it tells the story of Vietnamese men venturing deep into the forest in search of prized oud. Before each trip, they kindle incense at their ancestral altar, praying for safety and fruitful voyage. This fragrance transports you into the heart of Vietnam's jungle as scents of oud beckons. It's an ode to exploration, reverence, and the treasures hidden within nature's embrace. So there you go. It's more of that outdoorsy kind of foresty woodsy, and it looks like with some incense. Very interesting. So the notes are oud. Well, there it is. They said it was. Incense, spices, elemi. I love elemi. I wish with spices they'd say which ones though, because then you throw in something like cumin and it's like, for me, you may love it. For me, it doesn't work. And then it has sandalwood and black pepper. So this one's very interesting. This one's going to be spicy. And there it is. Main accords are woody and spicy. And what I like about this is they do give an explanation of things and how well these work. So this one is projection is considered intimate, which surprises me given these notes. And the longevity is 6 to 8 hours on skin, varied by weather and skin type, which is very true. People need to sometimes take that into consideration. I've kind of learned that, is my skin loves to with fragrances. Can't really smell anything. They did say it's intimate. So let's do this. 2 and 2. Whoops, 1, 2. Missed the first time. Goes on the arm if you're new, and then I do 1 on the shirt. Because I mostly put this here, I did 2.5. So I usually do 2 and 2. Oof. Whew, that is a smoky oud. That is smoky. There is incense in this, but what's interesting is that they didn't they mentioned it in the description. Oh no, it's right there. It's the second ingredient. Yeah, this is a smoky oud with incense. Period. It's just, that's what came out. It's kind of lovely. I do love that. I have not been to Vietnam, but I have been to Japan and Korea. And mostly when I was in Japan, I went to a lot of altars. I didn't get to travel around Korea as much as I would have liked. I mostly stayed in Seoul and went to a few other places outside of Seoul. But in Japan, I did move around a bit, and there was a lot of temples. And when you're in those temples, you will smell a lot of this incense, and it's that smoky incense like this. It's just so lovely. It'll be so quiet, and then you'll smell it, and oh, it's just beautiful and so peaceful. And what's interesting is then you'd be surrounded by these like temples that of course are made of wood, and you would get this wood scent with this incense. This is where it's transporting me, as if I am in an altar or near an altar right now, and the bell's there and you're supposed to like clap your hand and ring the bell and there's a certain way that you're supposed to do it. That's what I'm getting. I'm getting that sound in my head. So if you know what I'm speaking about, you may really like this if you enjoyed those scents and go, oh wow. Oh wow. Because this is it. This is really it. Oh wow. On my wrist, it is just that smoky oud and incense. And I'm getting a little bit of, I don't always sense the pepper until it matures a little bit on the skin. What I'll get is when I smell, I get the tingling in my nose of a little bit of a burning sensation. Not bad. Just a little bit of a, ooh, type thing. And that's what I'm getting. So that pepperiness is there. It is just smoky wood. It actually, on my body, I'm not getting the incense quite as much. It actually reminds me of a wood burning stove a little bit more, where I was raised. My grandparents had them, but I also had one in my house for heating. They're horrible for heating. And I would smell this as the wood burned. It's that smell of a wood burning stove, or if you're burning stuff, because my grandparents were in the woods, in a barrel when you're allowed to do it. It's that kind of scent. Very interesting. So I'm not getting the incense on me. It's that burning smoky wood with a little bit of pepper. Very interesting. But let's try it here on the shirt. Definitely more sweet on the shirt. So it's that smoky wood with the pepper. Definitely getting that pepper, but there's a sweetness to it of the incense. So the woodish, the wood aspect is very sweet, more sweet than it is on my chemistry, which is more smoky. So chemistry, though they're all staying in the same area, your chemistry is either going to pull it a little bit more sweet or more smoky, which is really interesting actually. But let's try it here. I always feel like these are what the artist intended it to smell like, taking out chemistry and other factors. So that's why I started adding these a bit. It's almost the same as my chemistry. It's just a little bit sweeter. Yeah, there's no sweetness on my chemistry. None. It's like, I know, it's me being salty apparently. It's not salty, it just doesn't have no sweetness. So there you go. I'm nicer than that. Anyway, so there's a sweetness to this. So what's interesting is this smells more smoky, oud, woodsy, with a little bit of that pepper, but the difference is on my chemistry, there's no sweetness, and here there's a little bit more sweetness. There's also that incense. With the shirt, it's actually closer to this. They're all very, not identical, they're all very close. It's just, at this point, very small little nuances, depending on your nose and your chemistry and things. But this one's really lovely. It's taking me to many different places. On my chemistry, it's taking me more to a personal thing of what I lived, with that smokiness, versus when I move around as a whole, when it's coming up from the shirt and from my chemistry, is more transporting me to that time that I was in Japan specifically, and these scents were very common. Yeah, very interesting. And then as it moves along, the incense is still there, but it's not quite as bold, and it's more of the sweetness coming through. It's becoming very sweet. Interesting, they said this was a skin scent. Maybe they're saying by 6 to 8 hours it becomes a skin scent, because this isn't a skin scent. This is one of the strongest ones of the collection thus far. So I'm like, it has a good, it's out to here. It is out to here where it's like, come on. These aren't like light notes. This is like, hey, stop. So I don't really get the skin scent. This is probably the strongest one thus far. Yeah. So there you go. So what we're going to do is we are going to wait this out for an hour, and more than that, because it's delightful. It sounded like it was a chore. It's not. We're going to wait an hour to see where this transports, and then we'll talk about it. Okay, so it has been an hour, and I can still smell this one. This one is much more than, they're saying it's a skin scent. I'm going to argue that one. This one most definitely is a regular scent, at least for me with my senses. I just think with something this strong, there's just no way that it's not going to be a little bit, because the incense, that woodiness of it, now it's really going into a sweetness direction. That kind of surprised me. I didn't see it going that way. So it's definitely still here. I'm definitely very much aware of it. So yes, let's try here on the wrist. Okay, so on the wrist, it's very sweet. Originally on my chemistry, it just was woody, like burnt wood sweetness. All I keep getting is like a wave of sweetness. And I'm getting that here too, and the incense has slowly come out a little bit. So it's all started morphing. It's all starting to morph the same on the different, like, shirt, on the wrist, on the paper. Yeah, it's that woodiness with a little bit of burnt to it, like smoke. That oud, that incense with a sweetness to it. Very sweet. But let's try it on the shirt. Yep, on the shirt, there's almost, it's the same thing. What's interesting with the shirt, though, is that it almost has a little bit of like a cinnamon to it. Like, it's almost like a little bit of cinnamon and nutmeg. And I'm like, am I imagining that? Because I'm getting a little bit of that. That's very strange. It's almost like a Red Hot a little bit, which is a cinnamon candy. It's the same. It's like the same across the board. Huh. The black pepper is still there, but it's not like, I'm not getting it like in the sinuses like I normally do, or it's not like that. That's very interesting. But I am almost getting like a cinnamon scent from it. And maybe it's from that sweetness and the woodiness, that it's just my mind being tricked into that. But it's just the wood, you know, the woodiness, the oud, the incense is there for sure, but it's just gone sweet. So you have that sweetness with it, and it's all pretty much heading the same. I know. Huh. Yeah, it all started going, I thought this was going to go in very different directions, but it's just there. We'll see where this one goes a little bit, because I am curious, because it's changed quite a bit. So we'll see in 4 hours. Okay, it has been 5 hours. We made it. So the one thing that I'm really getting from this is the sweetness. And so then I was thinking about it, as I do, and I think, and this is a note that I love Elemi so much. But I think that's where the sweetness is coming from. A little bit of that sweetness and powderiness. And I'm going to be honest, I think this one may be a little bit too sweet for me. It's very resinous. It's very sweet. It does have that woodiness to it. But it's mostly incense. So it's this sweet incense with... it's a sweet incense with a little bit of like woodiness to it. But it doesn't really remind me of a forest. But I don't think that's what they were going for. It was basically like, this is what they do before they head out into said forest. So I can accept that. But let's try it here on the wrist. So it's like a resinous, very sweet incense with a little bit of smokiness to me. Yeah. Yes. But let's try it on the shirt. Okay, on the shirt, it's not as sweet. It's my chemistry. So what's happening is, yes, it's that smokiness of the incense with the wood. And I'm still getting that pepper and sweetness. But it is just unrelenting on my chemistry. It is just unrelenting. And it's kind of throwing the balance off. Let's try it here. Okay, here it's sweet too. Let me try the shirt again. It is sweet, but it's contained a little bit more on the shirt versus my chemistry in here. So here it's not overly sweet. It really is my chemistry. It's again that pepper, which I think is adding kind of strangely enough to that smokiness. It's definitely still getting the pepperiness to it. But it's sweet, but it's woodsy. It's nice. It's not working well with my chemistry. And I think that's what makes fragrances beautiful and yet sometimes difficult. And especially that's why I always say please get a sample, because you can watch many different viewpoints of fragrances and they could be completely different. And it's not that their viewpoint is wrong or somebody else is right. It's just finding somebody who has a similar chemistry to you, or just hearing basically what the gist of the fragrance is. And that's one of these. I think it's good. Definitely smells way better on the shirt and on here. It does remind me more, it's gone back to more of that altar, but there's that black pepper because it's here and here. But it's that spiciness, that sweetness. It's still there, but it's not overwhelming. That incense, that smoky wood. It's just beautiful. It really does capture quite well. But it's just that it's just that it's on my chemistry. It's the sweetness is coming through too much. So I almost wish that. But then if you took the LME out, it wouldn't be the component that it is. It's kind of just making it very difficult to find a balance. So I do think, like most fragrances, but especially for me with my experience with this one, it's just, it really is chemistry driven. So what do I think about this? So let's break it down a little bit. They said it was very much a skin scent. I really would change that because it's still out here. It's actually one of the stronger ones. This ain't a skin scent. I'll just say it, at least not on me. And my body loves to eat up fragrances. No, this one's still going strong. So I don't agree with that, but maybe you'll have a different experience. But if we were going to put this into a season, it's hard because I think this would do well in fall and winter because I get that it evokes that imagery to me with wood and smokiness, and even in the altars walking through the cold. I just think it might be too heavy in summer. And if you pull up the sweet note like I do, ooh, you're going to be going, what I do? What I do? So something to take into consideration. They say it is masculine. I say you wear what you want. But if we were going to break it down, I can see why they call it masculine. I think for some reason we have this strange idea that if it's smoky and oud and woodsy, or wood, not like forest but wood, actual wood, it's spicy, this is a dude scent. I would wear something like this. Incense is for everyone. Come on. But yeah, I think anyone could wear it, but I think if we're moving it one way or the other, it would be more masculine. I could see that, but hey. So this one's going to be difficult to rate. I don't know if, though it's beautiful, I don't know if it's something that's so original that I'm like, wow, this is one I need in my collection. You know what I mean? It's wonderful. But if you have a lot of incense fragrances in your collection, always try a sample, but I just don't know if this is enough to make somebody go, yeah, I probably have something like this in the collection. You know what I mean? So for me, it's not like, wow. And that's hard because there's so many fragrances out there, but it's just a beautiful, sweet, woodsy kind, or woody incense scent. So because of that, I'm going to give this one a score of 6 out of 10. Not because it did anything wrong, my chemistry kind of did, but it's just not necessarily like, wow, the most groundbreaking thing. And that's what I'm finding in this, with this discovery set, is that it's just, again, like I said in the beginning, it just kind of checks those boxes. Here's our citrus. This will be our incense one. I'm sure there's a wood one, like an actual like forest one probably in there. Here's our gourmand. Here's our, it's very that. This one smells like clean laundry. It's very almost systematic, rather than having a huge identity of this is what makes us us. if that makes sense. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. There's nothing wrong with the fragrance house that just makes something that is going to make most people happy. That's cool. Not everybody wants to wear a T-Rex. And if they do, that's awesome. Not everybody wants to wear a warm bulb because of that electrical charge. That's okay. You don't have to wear it. And I think that's where this house succeeds, is it's very attainable for most people. I think most people will look at this collection and go, this is really wearable. Smart. So yeah. But for me, because the incense started getting too sweet, where I was just like, I kind of almost want to wash it off, just because for me, it's too sweet. And I'm a gourmand girl. It's just kind of one note. But then when I smell it on the paper and my clothing, it's a completely different story. Completely. Yeah. It's a little bit sweet, but not like this. So that's why. Didn't do anything wrong. My genetics did. So there you go. So yeah, we have 4 scents left. I'm curious to see where they go and if it continues doing the little checkbox. I'm curious, but we will find out here soon. And with that, have a fabulous day, my friends. Bye.